Welcome in. It's the Monday edition. Hope you had a great weekend. We welcome you back, Harry Mays, Matt Cherico, and Meitan Shander. It is the Philly Voice Sports Bets squad here, and Eagles are in. We know the playoff format. We have a national championship to get to. That's the most immediate thing, by all means. And then anything else that you'd like to sprinkle in. Really, there isn't much from now until Wednesday as far as outside of the national championship game, maybe college or NBA play, but that was some of the worst football, I think, put together that we've seen. And look, I am willing to put in week 1 of the NFL preseason and say that was worse than some of the preseason football we've seen across the board, Harry.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I don't know what the NFL can do about their Week 18 problem, because I think if you eliminate Week 18, it'll become a Week 17 problem. Whatever the last week of the season is, whether they go on and add an extra game, to get to 18, whatever it is, Week 19 will suck. I mean, it's just kind of the way it is. What's really unfortunate is I think they need to go away from this, which is what they went to a few years ago, where they started loading all these divisional games in at the end, because you get a lot of meaningless stuff with what should be good rivalries where you'd be looking forward to seeing full squads actually going to battle with their enemy. You know what I mean? Now you got guys sitting their quarterbacks, and I get it. I understand it. I just think they should have it be like an interconference game. Let's see that. Instead of the Lions playing the Packers, let's see the Lions playing the fucking Jaguars on Week 18. You know what I mean?
The Giants started a guy who had not thrown an NFL pass, Cherico. There's no way even you, the giant honk of the show, can explain that away. And look, he almost beat the Eagles.
Well, actually, I do. I have a little bit of an inside source that works for the Giants. And I found out that the only reason Davis Webb actually ended up getting this start is because he was going to be claimed by the Miami Dolphins and decided not to become a Miami Dolphin. He told the Giants, I want to stay here. And they rewarded him with starting this week.
That was a reward?
Yeah, that's a reward.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, I got one thing to ask Davis. Why wouldn't you want to go to Miami?
Yeah, seriously.
Seriously.
I mean, the climate, the taxes, everything.
Yes.
Like, sign me up. What a boob. That's why they started. They're like, oh, this guy's an idiot. Throw him out there.
Let me stay in North Jersey for a couple more weeks.
Oh, come on. Look, I hate to do it to Demarest, all right? But it ain't South Beach.
Right.
All right? So let's look at this now. Honestly, I don't have anything really much at all from this past week, because there were like 2 games that kind of mattered, and everything else, if you bet on, you were taking your life into your own hands. You didn't know when a quarterback was being pulled. You didn't know when a team was going to run a fake punt. You just didn't know any of that shit.
Right.
This was a terrible week to just bet overall.
It was, and it usually is, but that money line parlay that I put out there last week at minus 122 hit.
Which one was that?
Falcons, Eagles, and Niners. Money line on DraftKings.
Oh, at 122, yeah.
122, yeah. I had
the Falcons were that heavy that it was still at minus 122.
Yep. And they were trailing in that game. I mean, it was like 17-10 at one point. I was like, oh my God, they're going to lose. Tennessee hit, and the Packers. I mean, how do you explain what Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers put up last night?
I think people are starting to talk, and once he leaves, you're going to see a lot about how people just could not stand him.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference of Brady and all these other guys that win and win again is that people find a way to deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we've all dealt with people, and maybe we've been that person. I'm sure I have, right? Where it's just like, I can't deal with that person, but you find a way, right?
Right.
And I think it's it, man. Like, he is an embarrassment, how he acts, how he handles himself, all this shit, right?
Yeah.
Like,
is it sort of like a Russell Wilson situation in your view?
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen there. I know, Matt, you're going to jump in too. I don't know what's going to happen in Denver with a new coach and how that plays out, but it does feel like people were kind of like, I can't deal with this guy either. And then you start to hear stories about former players, who played with Russell Wilson had to go through his PR just to talk to him.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, for both of them, especially Aaron Rodgers last night, it just seems like a stream of arrogance as of lately, to where he just doesn't want to take any responsibility, any fault for the things going on around him. It's almost like his past resume should just, remove any type of bad that he does. But truthfully, even when you look at his resume, you take away that one Super Bowl, the guy isn't that successful in the NFL.
They should have more.
Absolutely.
You should have at least more appearances in the Super Bowl. You can't guarantee a victory, but they should have won the NFC 2 or 3 times more.
Exactly. For a guy that's supposed to be a generational type of quarterback, for the guy that, the Hail Mary God of the league, we should be seeing a lot more playoff success. And I mean, for last night, I'm not even a Packers fan, but to see the guy right after the game, he's going out and he's talking with the other team and he's smiling, he's smirking, he's walking back to the locker room with Randall Cobb and they're laughing and giggling. Like, where's the passion? You know, Jamal Williams, I saw Harry, your tweet. Jamal Williams came out after the game and, he was crying. Yeah. And he was crying and he was telling everybody, even they didn't even make the playoffs, but he was crying and he was telling people how much this game meant to them. It was almost one of the same scenarios as Geno Smith. They wrote him off. He didn't write back. Where was that passion for Aaron Rodgers? I think it's gone.
I want to start a petition on this show, Philly Voice Sports Bets, to eject the Seattle Seahawks from the playoff picture and insert the Detroit Lions. I need another week of Dan Campbell.
You're going to get a lot of Dan Campbell. Did you hear what he said at the end? The exit interview on that game, how he was going on and on about how, Minnesota, they may be all right. And this division's wide open. Like, Minnesota, what are they, with 13 games?
Yeah.
And Dan Campbell scoffs at it. So
I love it.
I'm all fired up.
I love it.
By all means.
I think the Giants can win that game.
I do too. I do too, which makes things very interesting because I think the Cowboys are actually going to lose to Tom Brady only because I just, how can you put money on Dak Prescott right now? You know what? And I was on a San Diego show this morning. We were talking about it. He has turned into Daniel Jones.
Wow.
He's a turnover waiting to happen every single time. And Daniel Jones is a competent quarterback that you can count on now to lead you down the field. Like the two have swapped. What's that old Freaky Friday or whatever the hell it is where they touch and the lightning strikes and they switch?
Yeah. I mean, there just is I can't believe that we have to watch a team, either the Dallas Cowboys or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers,
and it's a Monday night game.
Round. Yeah, like that's a prime time. That's going to be the only game we have to talk about that day. And it's, oh man, I'm smashing the field goal prop. That's all I know.
Hey, that hit again last night. How about that? Now, a lot of field goal props hit last night, but so far, and if you count Saturday, because technically Saturday was 2 primetime games, it went 1-1. Of all games, it hit the Chiefs, didn't hit and the Titans one. But this thing on prime time just continues, and playoffs are going to be prime time. So we'll see how that thing plays out. Do you have anything at all? I want to move to the national championship game because there's a lot here tonight. But is there any? The only thing I did is I jumped on Buffalo -10 ahead of time. I look. This is the game I think you're really going to see them stretch out. Like, this is the game where now their teammate is fine or like okay, right? Like, he's not dead, and I don't mean that as a joke. I mean that seriously. Like, there is a major positive trajectory in his recovery. Now is the whole let's win one, right? I think that was just all right. Let's get through that game, and they needed 2 freaking kickoff returns.
How about that?
To cover the spread, but. I love Buffalo this week against who? Do we know who the quarterback is?
We have no Skylar Thompson.
Skylar Bridgewater.
My goodness. Either way,
that's the only thing I have on a Monday for the NFL. If you have anything, have at it.
No, I mean, as far as look aheads, I like where you're going with Buffalo. I also think the Niners are just going to smash Seattle. I really do.
Yeah, I do too. I think this would be one of the biggest upsets in the first round that we've had in a long time.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the Jaguars-Chargers game. I actually think that's going to be pretty good with 2 young quarterbacks in the AFC. And the Baltimore Ravens just stink. I mean, what happened to them? And that's not being talked about enough.
You're right.
The way they have looked over the last 2 months of the season, and they're just god awful. They don't really belong in the playoffs. I know you got to put them in, but Cincinnati's going to boat race them.
It's interesting because their defense has actually been playing increasingly well by the week. It's just the offense without Lamar Jackson. Obviously, there's nothing going. Nothing. They have nobody to turn to. Even Mark Andrews. You can't make a weapon out of Mark Andrews without Lamar Jackson.
What happened to Huntley?
They didn't want to play him.
Oh, he's just not playing.
Oh, I thought, is he hurt still?
I want to say he might be hurt as well.
Jeez, man, this is. Well, I tell you, Harrison Endicott has a better chance of winning the Sony Open this week than the Baltimore Ravens have at maybe scoring 2 touchdowns.
I don't even know who Harrison Endicott is.
I would know him if he fell.
And I know everybody on the PGA Tour. I've never even heard of him.
You don't know who Kramer There are some people that are playing in the Sony Open that I have no fucking idea even existed.
Yeah, it's Kramer Hickok. You turn him sideways, you can't see him. He's that skinny.
Is that right?
Yeah, but you know who the favorite is? Tom Kim at 12 to 1. How about
he's
that?
Been working out. Did you watch the broadcast?
I love that guy.
All right, let's look at the championship game. All right, we got some time here. Got the NFL out of the way. Let's look at the national championship game. I told you guys last week before the weekend began, I'm on TCU plus 13.5. That's all I have right now. I'm going to look at some player props. Looks like you can get the kid for TCU over 1.5 passing touchdowns still for plus money. But right now, that's the only thing I have. I know Harry, though, teased that he had a first half total play or just a first half play.
I actually have a second half total play and a first half side play.
Okay.
I'm taking Georgia -7 in the first half. I think this is going to be one of these games where they're going to get out fast. They're going to look like they're going to absolutely just roll them, and it'll be one of those like 55-7 games. But then in the second half, TCU is going to warm up and start to figure things out. Could have a backdoor cover on the 12.5 and 13.5 for you, Eitan. But I like over 30.5 in the second half of this game.
Yeah, I really like the points to be scored tonight. I'm looking right now. I was taking the Georgia total over 38.5, and that one's at plus money too. So for plus 100, I really like the value of that. And then I was actually going to drop the alternate spread because I do like where Eitan's going with that, and I like 13.5. But I just want to be a little bit safer. So I think I'm going to take it in addition to a plus money play. I'm going to drop it all the way to plus 18.5. And then you take both of those and you still get a plus 333 play in there.
What was the second one?
Say it again.
So over 38.5 and then TCU plus 18.5.
Oh, so you're going over Georgia. You're scoring a lot of points, right?
Yep.
You're basically
high
asking
scoring
TCU to somewhat keep up.
Exactly. Just keep up the offensive tempo. And I think with the magic in a bottle that we've seen from them lately, I think that offense has that potential.
So I don't hate that at all. But I wonder, the one thing that you're countering is Georgia's defense. Right?
Okay.
Like, but I get it. You're saying the magic in the bottle. Look, I'm on TCU, so I need that bet to hit.
Yeah.
Right.
And you've got them at 18.5. So I like the fact that you've now covered a couple of numbers in 14 and then 18 as well, or technically 17, right through that. So I wouldn't do that at 13.5. I think you've done the right thing at 18.5.
And what did you do with the total?
You went over Georgia's team.
Over
total.
38.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus money on there.
All right.
All right.
Nice.
What do you have? Is that it? Is that all we have in the game?
That's all I got.
All right, that's fine.
The player props are looking a little sketchy to me. I can't lie. I was looking at some of them, and obviously I had talked about, my fandom for Quentin Johnston and being a prospect in the NFL. But I mean, sitting at 81.5 yards, that's kind of a high number for me right now. Even you look at Brock Bowers, his receiving yards at 62.5. I'm just not entirely comfortable taking these overs just yet. I think the surefire things are the points, because I think somebody's going to score. Somebody's going to end up putting those in. So I think instead of relying on guys individually to come through, and especially in a national championship setting, you can see a guy that, you never expected to come out, and all of a sudden he puts in 2 touchdowns. So.
Yeah, and I mean, Georgia got a lot of weapons. They spread the ball around a lot. Their running back is not a dominant running back. He's had only one game where he's gone over 100 yards this season. And that was against Kentucky, I believe, weeks back. But Stetson Bennett is going to win the MVP, right?
Well, he's the odds-on favorite.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that. He's probably going to get some love because he didn't win the Heisman, even though he was in the conversation. Probably shouldn't have, but that's a completely different conversation. I mean, it would take Max Duggan winning this game, right? Duggan winning this game.
There's some value with Duggan, too, for that reason, because they don't think he's going to win.
Absolutely. So I think that's it. Like, if you think otherwise, you would take some random dude, you would take
take Bowers, like Brock Bowers or something, who could catch 2 touchdowns and go for 70 yards receiving. Yeah.
Yeah, Brock Bowers, and it's not terrible. Tay Barber, 33-1. Kyrus Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what about a defensive guy, right?
A pick six could put
Yeah.
you over the edge right there.
I mean, look, you've got two scenarios here. You've got Georgia, which you could see, right, getting all over Duggan and that offense and just doing what the Bulldogs have done and causing turnovers and scoring. Or you have the opposite, which is, hey, if TCU is in this game, right, they could be in the shootout, but maybe Stetson Bennett falls apart. Maybe Bennett makes some mistakes. Maybe it's the national championship game. I know that they were here, right, pretty recent, but at the same time, stuff happens in these type of games, and maybe that's why a guy is 33-1 as a long shot. Probably won't happen, but I think you're right. The value would be on Duggan at 11-2 right now,
Right.
only because he's not favored to win this game.
Now, can I ask you guys, if Stetson Bennett wins this game, and say he does win that MVP as well, does this put him in, say, even the top 5 conversation of quarterback, stories all time in college football?
Time?
Yeah, considering, the walk-on story, how he didn't get an offer like that.
Went to JUCO, didn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, you know what I think is most amazing is that right through last year, people were basically saying he's just there to not throw interceptions.
Game manager.
He had numbers though that would, and it was just explained away. Like, well, look who he's throwing to.
Right.
Of course
he's got NFL wide receivers, NFL running backs.
Yeah, he got better. He got a lot better, and he is an NFL. I don't know where and when and all this stuff, but he's an NFL quarterback.
He just doesn't have that big build. He looks like a scrawny, like an accountant or something. You know what I'm saying? I think that works against him.
Without the mustache,
right,
and hair and jeans
and the quads
and the leather jacket.
Right. Oh my. All right. Well, that's it there, I guess. And will either team have a 100-yard rusher? Yes is plus 150, by the way.
Yeah, I would say no.
Yeah, I don't know. Stout run defenses, right? Like, these are both two pretty, heavy, more on the passing game than running, right? So,
yeah.
Look, I'm going to bet Duggan over 1.5 at plus 105 passing.
I like that.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's lock in.
I mean, I want them to score 28 points. At least,
I know. Yeah. We all need it. We all need it, right? By the way, have you seen We All Need It? Maybe thinking we all see it. Have you seen the new Dr. What's his name? Dr. Phil? Not Dr. Phil.
Oh yeah, Dr. Rick.
On the elevator.
Yes, it was actually pretty funny.
Yeah, not bad. They're doing a good job reviving.
The guy's turned around the wrong way. Is that right?
Because you've been on an elevator with someone like that.
Oh yeah,
you absolutely have. All right. Anything else you want to get out here, NBA or beyond? I know Jericho, you're all bottled up, ready to go. I went over 2.5 threes for big Zach attack Levine in that Bulls Celtics game. I also like Vooch over 10.5 rebounds in that game as well.
I definitely like that a lot. I mean, they've been on fire lately, and not even from a winning standpoint, but just from getting buckets, right? Because they've been losing games, but we're seeing teams in the NBA put up 150 and you're still losing. It's kind of incredible. I mean, it's doing justice for our overs and everything that we've been, playing as of late. But overall, not what you want to see from the Bulls standpoint. I'm going to be taking tonight the Denver Nuggets -10 against the Lakers. I'm just so out on the Lakers, and I actually think from watching them that Darvin Ham is a great coach, but the talent that they have is just so horrific. It really is just LeBron James, a washed up Russell Westbrook, and they plug everybody else in there and hope for the best. So I'm going to be riding with the -10, and I think the Nuggets cover that one at home, especially up in the Mile High City. I think Jokic is looking to get his game off, especially against a team that lacks a true center like the Lakers. So I'm going to be riding with that one. And then I was also taking a little bit of an underdog today. I'm taking the Orlando Magic at +194 on the money line.
I went under in that game on one of my videos, but it correlates with Orlando covering that spread.
Yeah, I think they have all the length in this game to win. With the combination of Sabonis and Rashawn Holmes at the 4 and 5 for the Kings, I really think the length of the Magic is going to help them in this game. And the playmaking of Markelle Fultz has been increasingly better and better. He's not looking to score necessarily in this offense. He's really looking to dish over to guys like Franz Wagner and Banchero. So I really like them to come through on the money line tonight.
Awesome.
What happened to KD this weekend? Didn't he get hurt?
AD?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's hurt. He's back. He's hurt. It's like Chris Middleton. It's like, oh yeah, don't worry, and then he's out again.
Yeah, he's hurting. His back is hurting from carrying them, pretty much. It's all over the place.
Not good. I wonder what you could get for like an alt spread for Banchero, because I think there's a pretty good matchup. Like
Paolo.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
30 points, maybe a small little sprinkle on that. All right. We are back Wednesday, and we will look in depth at this national championship game as it completes a pretty cool year in college football. We'll have some NFL stuff, I'm sure, some clarity as far as quarterbacks, right, in Baltimore and Miami. We anticipate that. And we will start to look at a little bit, every game that we have and try to find some other shit too, right?
Some PGA Tour stuff. I had
The
four.
Sony Open.
I
Sony
got
Open
4 winners on the
Oh, yeah?
Tournament of Champions. Yeah.
Nice. Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Awesome, man. Awesome. All right. Well, we're back Wednesday. More winners.